Now, there's a cost of living crisis. People are worried about their jobs. Obviously, we are paying more and more in tax. So, is it time that we introduced a universal basic income? What is a universal basic income? We'll be telling you in a second. One of our viewers or listeners, Paul, wrote in to say this. He wants us to talk about universal basic income. He says, if the average business could replace their workforce with automation, would they? Of course they would. Greed rules. Automation and robots has the ability to free humans from the drudgery of mindless work. So he thinks maybe it is time for a universal basic income.
I suppose. I mean, maybe. I mean, let's get these views coming in thick and fast. Surely people need a bit of purpose, though. I don't know. Anyway, look, obviously there was loads of ideas being floated around about how to deal with the challenges of the future. Universal basic income is potentially one of them, and this, broadly speaking anyway, involves the state giving a sum of money to everyone in society, regardless of means testing and whether or not they already have a job. But joining us to explain all of this now, someone who knows a lot more about it than certainly I do, and we're going to be going now to Lloyd Duddridge from Labour for a Basic Income, an organisation that tries to build awareness of the idea of UBI amongst the Labour Party. Lloyd, thank you very much. Well, look... Hello. First things first, shall we have a universal basic income?
I think we should. I think it would counter a lot of the problems that we're facing at the moment. I mean, we're in the middle not just of a crisis in standards of living, but also in a crisis of growth in our economy. And I think a basic income or direct payments would help counter some of the problems we have in both of those.
Can you just explain how a basic income works? Because some of our viewers and listeners might not have heard of the concept.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can understand why not everyone has. I mean, it is usually perceived as an unconditional, often monthly payment, although there's different models of it, that you will receive from the government or from others to supplement your wage. So it's unconditional. It is, imagine it a bit like a direct debit that you would receive at the end of the month from the government.
For every single citizen?
For every single citizen, usually over the age of 18.
And it's all the same amount?
Yes.
OK. Yes. And do you get that as well as if you work as well?
Yes. Yes,
OK.
Very much so.
So tell us the pros and cons of this, because I have quite strong feelings against UBI, because I think actually what we should do, if we have this big pot of money, we should give more to the neediest rather than split it out between everybody else, because everybody would just end up getting a smaller sum. So walk me through why that's not a valid argument.
Because I think the country is at its best when it believes in universalism and that everybody is bought into a system of change. We saw that with the NHS. You know, not everybody uses it for their operation, but everybody understands why it's important, because everybody in the country collectively pays for it and has bought in for it. And I think it's the same for UBI. It's a liberalising idea that actually is about freeing people up to live the lives that they want to live, to give them the ability to be crisis-proof, the ability to take risks in life. And actually, if you do believe in sort of individualism and freedom, this is the idea that you want, because it's not actually about the state dictating how you spend your money. It's about saying actually that you, as a citizen in the country, understand how to spend money best for yourself and your family.
Now, presumably, you'd want a Labour government in power at the moment, possibly not under the current leader, but that's another discussion.
Definitely under the current leader.
If a Labour government was in power today, how much would you want them to be giving every citizen every single month? What are the numbers we're talking here?
I mean, that's very much a hypothetical question that Keir needs to answer, not me, but I'll have a go at it. I mean, there's been modelling around £800 to £1,000 a month.
And how much would that cost?
Well, it would cost a huge amount as an initial outlay, but it depends how you pay for it. So there's a number of different ways. I think automatically we would see more money coming back into the system through economic growth. I mean, at the moment, we're paying a lot in our tax bill and our tax take all the time, but seeing very little in growth. I mean, we saw in the last reporting that it was 0.1% in terms of growth. That's not paying anything back.
Have you actually costed it, though? If there's modelling about £800 and £1,000 a month, I mean, you're calling for this thing. So what is it actually going to cost?
Well, like I said, it's going to cost a huge amount of money, but it depends the model that you use. So there's another modelling that has been used around in the States, actually, in Alaska, through a transaction tax, through those that benefit most from the changing nature of work. So actually, it doesn't have to all come from the Treasury. I think that's a bit of an outmoded way of looking at basic income, that it should just be out of Rishi or whoever replaces him. Pocket, to be fair.
But what about the argument there? I think the original question was, Paul said, automation and robots has the ability to free humans from the drudgery of mindless work. So he thinks, work can sometimes not be very fulfilling, but wouldn't this devalue work almost? Because some people want to get up and, yes, they might work, stacking shelves in a supermarket. Somebody might say that's a drudgery of work, but they might find fulfilment in getting up every day and going and serving people.
Of course, I hope they do. I mean, this isn't a substitute for work in the main. It's a way to protect good quality jobs, to give people an option on top of their wage, to liberate them from jobs that they don't enjoy. If you enjoy your job, why should this replace it?
Why should we all pay for someone to sit at home and not work? This is the thing I don't quite understand, because not everyone enjoys their job. That's why it's a job. It's work, right? I'm very lucky. I absolutely love what I do. I get the impression potentially you do as well, right? And that's great. That's fantastic. And I feel very sorry for people who aren't in that position. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to pay for them so that they can go, you know what, I'm sick of little, I'm off, I'm going to sit on the couch.
I don't think anyone is sitting on the couch for £1,000 or 800 quid a month.
I
really don't. I really don't.
I know a couple of people who are.
I mean, you may do, but we're doing it. We build a system in this country around the majority of people. That's the way that democracy works. The majority of people in this country, particularly in the city that we're sitting in now in London, are not sitting on the couch for £800 or £1,000 a month. They're not. It's not a substitute for work. It's there to protect good quality jobs, because that's what we should be fighting for. Actually, I think we're in agreement that good quality jobs are the way forward, and actually low quality jobs are what we want to phase out. And I think a basic income is the best way to protect workplaces from that drudgery and from that low quality job market.
Well, look, I could talk to you about this all day. I've thoroughly enjoyed this, and thank you very much for coming in. It's been a cracking chat, that, actually. Lloyd Duddridge there from Labour for a Basic Income, which obviously trying to build awareness of it. It does what it says on the tin, doesn't it? We don't need to go over that again. But look...